When you go to pet store and you drop like $50 on a premium bag of cat food,
Oh, yeah.
there's this underlying assumption that you are buying the absolute pinnacle of feline nutrition, right? Like you look at that glossy bag, you see the bold words, 100% complete and balanced, and you feel like a pretty responsible pet owner.
You do. It's designed to make you feel that way.
Right. But what if your cat's body is actively rejecting like 80% of that expensive kibble? What if the secret to adding 5 healthy years to your cat's life isn't in aisle 4 of the pet superstore, but sitting right inside your own refrigerator?
Yeah, and to really grasp this, it requires a complete demolition of how we currently view feeding our animals. I mean, we've been conditioned to look at feeding as just pouring a scoop of processed brown pebbles into a bowl for, basic daily sustenance.
Just fuel in the tank.
Exactly. But what we are actually looking at today in this deep dive is a massive shift toward real bioavailable foods. Foods that function as targeted preventative medicine.
Okay, well, let's unpack this, because for me, relying entirely on heavily processed kibble for a cat's entire lifespan is, it's a lot like a human trying to survive purely on a compressed, synthetic, multivitamin biscuit.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right. Like, yes, if you look at that biscuit under a microscope, technically, there are enough trace minerals to keep your organs functioning, keep you breathing. But surviving is not thriving. Biology didn't design you to extract all your life force from a fortified cracker.
No, it didn't. That is the perfect distinction. And that brings us to the core of what we're analyzing today. We aren't just talking about what ingredients are printed on the back of a bag.
Right.
We are talking about the mechanics of how a feline body absorbs those ingredients at a cellular level. It's the battle between biological recognition and synthetic laboratory creations.
Which is exactly why we're taking you on this deep dive today. We're looking at a really, just an eye-opening transcript from the popular YouTube channel Cat's Insider.
Yeah, really fascinating stuff.
It is. The video is called 15 Human Foods Cats Actually Need More Than Cat Food. And it starts by going right after the very foundation of the commercial feline diet, which is protein.
The absolute building block.
Exactly. So the creator brings up this staggering issue with something called chicken meal. When you read chicken on a kibble bag, you aren't getting a nice, roasted thigh. You are getting a product that has been heat blasted at 300 degrees Celsius during the manufacturing process.
Which is it's an extreme temperature.
It's insane. And that extreme temperature destroys 70% of the bioavailable protein your cat actually needs.
Right, because we have to look at the chemistry of what's happening there. Heat denatures protein. It literally unwinds the complex molecular chains of the amino acids.
Wait, so it physically changes the shape of the protein?
Yes, exactly. So by the time that extruded kibble reaches your cat's digestive tract, it doesn't even look like meat to their body anymore. Yeah, their system has to expend massive amounts of internal energy just to break down those warped structures, just to extract a tiny fraction of usable nutrients. I mean, you have to remember, their wild ancestors were not hunting down heat-extruded pebbles.
Right.
They were processing real, moisture-rich muscle meat.
So the source offers a shockingly simple intervention for this, which is plain cooked chicken breast, just pure, lean muscle meat, bite-sized pieces, cooked plain.
And we should emphasize absolutely no skin, no oils, no seasonings.
Good point. Yeah, plain chicken. And the claim is that feeding this just 3 times a week visibly improves their muscle tone in just 14 days. 14 days.
Yeah, because there is zero biological translation required.
What do you mean by biological translation?
So when that raw or lightly cooked muscle meat hits the feline digestive system, the body instantly says, I know exactly what this molecular structure is, and I can immediately shuttle these intact amino acids to the muscle tissues.
Oh, I see.
It is just highly, highly efficient.
Okay, but I want to push back on this for a second. Let's say I'm looking at a premium bag of kibble in my pantry right now, and it explicitly says 100% complete nutrition.
Sure.
Are you telling me that's a lie? I mean, legally, pet food companies can't just print completely fabricated claims on a bag, right?
Right.
If the aminos are destroyed by heat, aren't they just putting them back in? Like, why am I going to the trouble of boiling chicken if the bag guarantees complete nutrition?
Well, it isn't a lie, legally speaking. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is where you have to understand the massive loophole in the pet food industry's definition of complete nutrition.
Okay, lay it on me.
The legal requirement simply dictates that the chemical compounds must exist within the product at the time of testing.
Okay,
It says absolutely nothing about bioavailability.
Ah.
So to meet those legal minimums after heat blasting the food, companies will spray synthetic laboratory-made amino acids back onto the kibble.
They just spray it on.
Yep. But a cat's body struggles immensely to process synthetic aminos. The label tells you what is in the bag, not what actually makes it into your cat's bloodstream.
That is wild. I mean, that explains why the video creator leans so heavily into cooked eggs. They point out that an egg is basically nature's perfect multivitamin.
Oh, absolutely.
It has all 9 essential amino acids.
Crucially, they're presented in the exact spatial arrangement that a biological system evolved to process.
Right.
Think about it. An egg has to contain every single building block necessary to spontaneously create life from scratch.
That's a crazy way to think about it, but yeah, it's true.
So when you feed a cat a plain cooked egg, say twice a week, you bypass those synthetic spray-ons entirely. You are giving them 100% bioavailable building blocks.
Which perfectly explains why the source noted a massive, highly noticeable increase in cats' energy levels in just 10 days of adding eggs.
Yeah, the results are fast.
Really fast. The source also mentions cooked turkey, which is naturally high in tryptophan. Now, we all know the Thanksgiving turkey coma, right?
Oh yeah, the nap on the couch.
Exactly. But for cats, tryptophan crosses the blood-brain barrier and acts as a precursor to serotonin. The creator literally watched aggressive, highly territorial cats become noticeably calmer and less anxious in 2 weeks just by feeding them small amounts of well-done turkey twice a week.
It's essentially neurological modulation using whole foods rather than like pharmaceutical sedatives.
But the protein that I found most fascinating out of the whole meat section was cooked rabbit.
Oh, rabbit is an incredibly powerful tool. It's particularly useful for cats suffering from severe chronic allergies.
Why is that?
Well, since rabbit is a novel protein for the vast majority of indoor cats, their immune systems simply have no antibodies against it.
Right, they've never been exposed to it, so you completely bypass the histamine response.
Exactly. If you have a cat constantly scratching or dealing with skin inflammations, rabbit acts as a complete systemic reset.
That's amazing.
Plus, the concentration of vitamin B12 is massive, which is critical for red blood cell production and preventing anemia. But, and this is important, we do need to issue the very strict safety warning from the text here.
Oh yes, the bones.
Yes. If you source rabbit, you must completely debone it before cooking. Rabbit bones are highly prone to dangerous splintering and can cause fatal lacerations in the GI tract.
Absolutely crucial point. Okay, so we've established that high-quality, bioavailable protein is the fuel. But putting premium fuel into a car doesn't really matter if the fuel line is clogged.
No, it doesn't.
Which means we have to talk about absorption and how we optimize the feline gut.
Yeah, because you can't decouple protein utilization from the overall health of the digestive lining.
Right. And this is where the source introduces a few specific plant foods that act as preventative medicine. The first is plain pumpkin puree.
The classic.
And to be completely clear for anyone listening, we mean 100% pure pumpkin from a can, not the sugary pumpkin pie filling.
Right, that would be a disaster.
Yeah, no sugar. But I like to think of plain pumpkin as a two-way digestive traffic cop.
I love that analogy. Let's look at the mechanics of why that's so accurate. It all comes down to the behavior of soluble fiber and osmotic gradients.
Right, because if your cat suddenly has diarrhea, the source claims just 1 tablespoon of pumpkin fixes it within hours.
Yep.
But if your cat is constipated, that exact same ingredient is the cure. Just 1 teaspoon mixed in 2 to 3 times a week. How does one single thing fix both extremes?
Oh, it's because soluble fiber is highly hygroscopic, meaning it attracts and holds water.
Okay.
If a cat has diarrhea, the fiber acts like a sponge, absorbing excess moisture in the lower intestines and firming up the stool.
Makes sense.
But if a cat is constipated, that same fiber pulls moisture from surrounding tissues into the digestive tract to provide the necessary bulk and lubrication to get things moving.
So it's literally adapting to whatever the gut needs.
Exactly. It stabilizes the environment regardless of which direction it's leaning. It really highlights how bizarre it is that veterinarians will charge $30 for prescription digestive kibble when a $2 can of pumpkin utilizes natural chemistry to do the job better.
It's just nature's reset button. And speaking of utilizing natural chemistry, the creator brings up fresh papaya to deal with hairballs. Papaya contains an enzyme called papain,
Which is a proteolytic enzyme. Its specific biological function is to cleave peptide bonds.
And hair is made of keratin, right? Which is notoriously difficult to break down.
Very difficult.
So by giving your cat one tiny bite-sized piece of papaya and making absolutely sure the seeds are removed,
Yes, no seeds.
just once a week, that papain enzyme actively dissolves the keratin bonds of the hair they swallow during grooming, so it passes harmlessly into the litter box instead of being violently ejected onto your living room rug at 3 a.m.
It is brilliant. But, if we are going to discuss plant matter in a feline diet, we really have to address the broccoli paradox.
Oh, I am so glad we are here. Because I'll be honest, when I read the section advocating for steamed broccoli, my first reaction was, this is nutritional malpractice.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Right, because cats are obligate carnivores. They don't graze in gardens. Telling someone to feed their cat broccoli goes against every biological rule I know.
It feels incredibly counterintuitive until you analyze wild predatory behavior.
Okay.
When a wild feline hunts a bird or a mouse, they don't surgically extract the muscle meat, they consume the entire animal.
Right. Beak, feathers, and...
Exactly. And what is sitting inside the stomach and intestines of a mouse? Partially digested plant matter.
Ah, so they are getting vegetation, but it's pre-processed by the prey's digestive enzymes.
Yes. Finally, chopping and steaming broccoli perfectly mimics the breakdown that would normally happen in a prey animal's stomach.
That makes so much sense.
But the reason we do it isn't just for historical accuracy. Broccoli is packed with specific antioxidants that directly target the urinary system.
Which is a huge deal, considering urinary tract infections are the leading cause of death for indoor house cats worldwide.
Right. UTIs are essentially runaway cellular inflammation.
Oh.
Free radicals, which are unstable molecules missing an electron, they attack the delicate lining of the bladder and urinary tract, causing micro tears and severe inflammation.
Ouch.
Yeah. The antioxidants in broccoli neutralize those free radicals by donating an electron before they can damage the tissue.
Oh.
Mixing just 1 teaspoon of steamed broccoli into their meat twice a week is literally active defense for their urinary tract.
Okay, that is fascinating. So we've optimized the gut, which means the cat is now absorbing all this high-quality protein and nutrient matter with maximum efficiency.
Yes.
But that creates a new problem, doesn't it? An energy surplus. I mean, anyone with an indoor cat knows exactly what I'm talking about. The afternoon lethargy followed by those frantic, wall-bouncing 3 a.m. zoomies.
Oh, the zoomies.
Yeah.
It's a systemic energy management issue. When the fuel is burning too hot and fast, we have to look at the carotenoid group.
Right, and the source leans heavily into cooked sweet potatoes and cooked carrots for this. And I'm going to push back again here because I hear sweet potatoes and I immediately think of carbohydrates.
Sure, that's a natural reaction.
Giving carbs to a sedentary indoor cat feels like a fast track to feline obesity and diabetes. Like, won't their insulin levels just go crazy?
Well, what's fascinating here is if you were giving them simple sugars, yes. But we are talking about complex carbohydrates, specifically amylose and amylopectin structures.
And what's the difference in how the cat processes those?
It's all about the speed of molecular cleavage. Simple carbs break down instantly, right? Flooding the bloodstream with glucose.
Which causes the spike.
Exactly. That triggers a massive insulin spike and a subsequent crash, too. That's your afternoon lethargy. But the complex carbs in sweet potatoes take a long time for the feline body to unspool.
Okay, so it's a slower process.
It creates a very slow, drip-feed release of glucose. This means stable, sustained ATP production in their cells all day long.
Which stops the frantic 3 a.m. energy spikes because their blood sugar isn't wildly fluctuating.
Precisely.
In fact, the creator provided data showing their own overweight cat lost 3 pounds in 2 months after incorporating mashed sweet potato, simply because the energy was so stable the cat was moving more consistently throughout the day.
It's entirely about the glycemic index.
Huh.
And the source also recommends plain cooked quinoa, completely cooled, of course.
Right.
Because it has a remarkably low glycemic index while offering all 9 essential amino acids, iron, and magnesium. The creator actually noted their veterinarian had to lower their diabetic cat's insulin dosage twice because the quinoa stabilized their blood sugar so effectively.
That's a massive medical intervention just from a pantry staple. It's crazy. And we should also note the visual benefits here. Carrots and sweet potatoes are loaded with beta-carotene.
Oh, yes.
The creator steams and mashes carrots or leaves them slightly firm to act as a mechanical toothbrush for dental health. And that beta-carotene actually helps sharpen their already brilliant night vision for hunting.
Yeah, so we have essentially stabilized their baseline daily energy.
Right. Which brings us to the final tier. The absolute nutrient bombs, the cellular repair tools. And that means diving into the sea.
The superfoods.
Exactly. First up, Cooked salmon. Now, we all know about omega-3 fatty acids, but the source points out that the omega-3s in real wild-caught salmon are 4 times more absorbable than those expensive fish oil pump bottles people buy.
Though we must emphasize the preparation here. The salmon must be completely cooked, steamed, baked, or grilled plain.
No raw sushi for the cat.
No, absolutely not. Raw salmon carries specific parasites that can cause catastrophic gastrointestinal illness in cats. Domestic cats simply don't have the microbiome to handle modern supply chain pathogens.
Look thoroughly. Got it. But here's where it gets really interesting for me. Plain cooked shrimp.
Oh, yeah?
I had no idea about this. Shrimp contains a compound called astaxanthin.
Astaxanthin is remarkable.
Yeah.
It is the specific antioxidant that actually gives salmon and shrimp their pink color.
And the source points out that shrimp contains astaxanthin in concentrations 10 times higher than salmon.
It's incredibly potent.
But how does it actually work? I mean, the creator said their lethargic senior cat started acting like a playful kitten again in just 1 week, claiming it provides cellular rejuvenation. What does that actually mean biologically?
Well, most regular antioxidants can only protect the outer edges of a cell. But the molecular structure of astaxanthin is unique. It physically spans across the entire cellular membrane, from the outside environment all the way to the interior.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it acts like a structural shield, neutralizing oxidative stress across the whole cell. When you protect cells from degrading, especially in a senior cat, you quite literally rejuvenate their joint and organ function.
That is incredible.
It is. Just ensure the shell, tail, and that digestive vein are completely removed before feeding.
Good tip. But if astaxanthin is a shield, the next food is the engine, the undisputed king of the seafood list. Plain, cooked sardines, packed in water, no oil.
The powerhouse.
You just mash up 1 small sardine once a week, leaving the tiny bones in for the calcium, which is cool, and you are delivering omega-3s, B12, and a massive dose of CoQ10.
CoQ10 is the holy grail for cardiovascular health. In veterinary medicine, cardiologists routinely prescribe synthetic CoQ10 supplements for cats with heart murmurs or early heart disease.
And they charge a fortune for it, I'm sure. But how does CoQ10 actually support the heart?
It acts as a critical electron carrier in the mitochondrial respiratory chain.
Okay, in plain English.
In plain English, the heart muscle requires an enormous, constant supply of energy to keep beating. CoQ10 is basically the spark plug inside the mitochondria of those heart cells that allows them to produce ATP, or energy.
Ah, okay. The spark plug.
Yes. As cats age, their natural CoQ10 production plummets. A mashed sardine replaces that spark plug naturally. It's highly bioavailable and practically for free.
That is profound. Which brings us to our final food, and easily the most potent on the entire list. Plain cooked liver, either beef or chicken. The source calls it nature's multivitamin on steroids.
It really is.
It is dense with vitamin A, B-complex vitamins, iron, and copper. The creator claimed it completely rebuilt their rescue cat's damaged liver enzymes in just 6 weeks.
It is the ultimate medical intervention. But that immense power is exactly why we have to issue a severe safety warning here.
Right, because my first instinct is, if liver is a miracle superfood that restores organs, I should be giving this to my cat every single day, right?
But if you did that, you would likely cause irreversible organ failure.
Oh.
Yeah, it all comes down to how vitamins are stored. Vitamin C, for instance, is water-soluble. If you take too much, your body simply flushes the excess out in your urine.
Right.
But vitamin A is fat-soluble. It does not flush out. It accumulates in the hepatic stellate cells of the liver. If you feed a cat too much liver, you trigger a toxic condition called hypervitaminosis A, which leads to lethal bone deformities and systemic toxicity.
Yikes. So the dosing rules are absolutely non-negotiable. If you are feeding beef liver, you are strictly limited to a piece the size of your thumbnail just once every 2 weeks, maximum. Chicken liver is considered slightly safer because its folate to iron ratio isn't quite as aggressively concentrated. But even then, you are limited to a piece the size of your pinky fingernail only once every 10 days.
It demands respect. It is a highly potent substance meant to act as a targeted intervention, particularly for cats recovering from illness, not a daily snack.
Okay, well, we have covered an incredible spectrum of biology today, taking you from repairing the gut lining with pumpkin to supercharging mitochondrial heart cells with sardines. And to bring all this home, the video creator issues a specific 30-day challenge to you, the listener.
I love this part.
Yeah, it's great. You don't have to overhaul everything overnight. Pick just 3 of the foods we've discussed today. Commit to feeding them consistently, following the strict safety and dosing guidelines for 30 days, and just watch the transformation in your cat.
That challenge perfectly encapsulates the paradigm shift we've been exploring. We have to move past the convenience of accepting whatever is scooped from a highly processed bag as the ceiling of health.
Right.
When we start utilizing real, single-ingredient, bioavailable foods, we are practicing active preventative medicine. It aligns with our evolutionary biology, and practically speaking, it is going to save you thousands of dollars in future vet bills by preventing the chronic illnesses that processed diets inevitably fuel.
It's about taking the power of nutrition back into your own hands. But before we go, I want to leave you with one final, sort of an unmentioned thought to ponder because it really struck me while we were synthesizing all this research.
Oh, what's that?
Well, if our pets' highly processed, heat-blasted, extruded diets are directly creating chronic illnesses which we then turn around and treat with incredibly expensive synthetic pharmaceutical versions of the exact same nutrients found naturally in cheap whole foods. How closely does that mirror the modern human food industry and our own medical system?
Wow. It is an uncomfortable but incredibly accurate parallel.
Like, are we as humans basically feeding ourselves the equivalent of kibble? Are we surviving on compressed synthetic multivitamin biscuits instead of real food? It is definitely something to think about the next time you are wandering the middle aisles of the grocery store. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the labels, keep exploring the science, and hey, maybe go boil an egg for your cat today. See you next time.